Well, I mean...
Okay, you're a freak.
We'll just call each other names and then claim that, you know, we made progress or something, right?
Well, that's like how it always works, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't have any set agenda. I don't even have any set aspects of, you know, this idea of separatism to talk about. Maybe one thing that I've noticed is separatism, it seems like... Okay. Wow, that was... I'm getting an echo now. Okay, that's much better.
Okay, hold on just a second.
The transgender Borg.
I tried to go to the X. Oh wow, that's loud. I tried to go to the external speaker. That obviously didn't work.
Well, you know, what you could probably do is just mute your speakers, because you can hear me from the phone, so you don't have to listen to me through your speakers.
That's a good point, but I'm okay now. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. So one of the things that I've noticed is that some people proudly say I'm a separatist. Some people say, don't call me a separatist. Some people say you're only a separatist if you're I've seen some people claim to be separatists who were very kind of radical feminists, you know, separatists, and it's kind of like blended in with transgender or transsexual, well, transsexual separatism, and so that we understand each other, what definition do you ever use that term, separatism, a TS separatist? Do you identify as one?
Well, it's a funny term. You know, it didn't exist in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, maybe even the 90s.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, the problem is you have, you know, somewhere between 50,000 and 200,000 post-op transsexuals living in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Probably twice that number that are on a track for, you know, treatments and surgery and whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And most of them are totally silent.
I agree.
Meanwhile, you have somewhere around 1 million freaks.
1 million freaks? What do you whenever you say freak, what do you mean by that? Are you pulling my chain, aren't you?
Yes, I'm pulling your chain. Yeah, I hate to say it, but there are a lot of people in this world that like to play with whatever we call gender or sex or whatever you want to call it.
Right, I agree. Yes.
And you know, some of them do it to get excited.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them do it because they're just plain weird.
Right. Well,
how do you deal with these people?
I mean, weird being a relative term.
Wait a minute, let me say this.
Sure.
Let's go to Congress, which is predominantly male,
Mm-hmm.
and let's ask Barney Frank to write bathroom regulations. Does that make any sense at all to you?
You know, my preference is my preference would be to not have to have any of those kinds of regulations and stuff. The problem is the right wing. It's almost like the trans community, the GLBT community, or the progressive community, or whatever you want to call it, is always playing defense. It's always reacting to some nut who gets in power and then says, okay, you group over there, you don't count. You don't have rights. You don't have... And then this oppressed group of people then has to go through this process of reclaiming their rights. And it seems like that's kind of what's happened with the trans community through, thanks to people like Raymond, the feminist separatists who, really quite screwed the transsexual community, by, purposefully conflating a lot of terminology and poking and inflating a bunch of fears, to serve her own ideology. And the trans, all trans people paid for that. And a lot of it... Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Here is the problem with the concept of an alliance. If you're going to have an alliance between two groups that have different characteristics,
Mm-hmm.
then both people, both groups, if you will, should stand to gain something. The problem is, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there was no problem with transsexuals. In the 80s and 90s, suddenly people like Yvonne started to focus this spotlight on this broader umbrella concept.
Well, I want to agree with the spotlight being focused during that era, but there are a number of instances where transsexual people ran into problems, because it was known, their medical history became known. People losing their job. Christine Jorgensen was denied a marriage license. The very same.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the very same problems that we face. We faced back then. We face, I think, on a larger degree, because the whole topic of transsexualism. Well, the topic of transsexualism has been sensationalized to the point that, I think that I know a lot of transsexual people who choose to identify as transgender because the word transsexual in their mind had become so sullied that it almost seemed to them as a porn industry word, kind of like tranny or something, which is really unfortunate.
Let me answer something.
Yes.
When I sound sexual, didn't it? Look, the point is,
Mm-hmm.
Christine Jorgensen never wanted to be known as anything but a woman. There is none of this transsexual shit.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, but that's like a stage.
I mean, I think
the point is to get beyond it.
Well, right. I think I understand what you're saying, that the point of transition isn't to, continually stay in transition where, you're just stuck in this, like gender rut or something. That's not why